So today I wanted to talk about not specifically Japan, but I wanted to make a comparison with Tesla as a company. Reason being that I purchased a Tesla in November of last year, and I've just been fascinated by the innovation that this car is delivering compared to other cars I've been driving before. It's what I kind of try to say is, if you are in your 40s, then you still remember that there were, if you're from Europe, Nokia phones, or here in the US, Motorola phones, or maybe even later Blackberries. And then the first shift, I still remember the first time I was holding an iPhone in my hands, and I was really blown away by the technology shift. And it definitely is the same for me with driving a Tesla. So as I'm recording this video right now, the Tesla I'm sitting in is actually driving itself. So I don't really have to use my hands on this. Well, I have to keep my hands on the steering wheel, look at the street, but the car is driving itself. And this is a technology that is still in beta stage. It's not publicly available yet because it's not yet 100%, but Tesla's getting close to making a public release, and that will be the ChatGPT moment for Tesla. Now, talking about speed of innovation and Tesla and Japan, and specifically I want to make a comparison with Toyota, because I lived in Toyota, in the city of Toyota, for over a year when I was in high school. I worked not in Toyota, but in the Toyota of construction machines, which is Komatsu. And I have experienced a lot of, let's say, innovation in Japanese corporations. There is definitely innovation, but I think the big variable, the big difference, is the speed of innovation. And that's where the biggest difference lies between, I'd say, maybe the traditional auto manufacturers in general and Tesla at the moment, where the speed of making changes to any kind of part is so fast in case of Tesla that you don't have to do any revisions. So I give you an example. In the traditional auto manufacturers, or also in Komatsu, where I used to work, I worked in purchasing. You would request the supplier to not make any changes to the part they were delivering, with exceptions that they would have to send you a minimum, depending, 3, 4, 5, 6 months notice before they were changing any part. This was included, or this included material changes. So if the steel used for a certain part would change, of course we needed a 6 months notice minimum to be informed about that. We would have to do the necessary quality checks and so on and so on. So that is something that Tesla is, on the other hand, is doing completely different, because they are testing every single part in their production line. They say, we don't really need you to tell us about any changes you make. The only request is that it is for the better. So the quality has to be better, but the suppliers don't need to inform them. So the speed of innovation, you can imagine, is a lot faster, because the suppliers do not have to deliver the part that is already, I don't know how many years old, but they're basically encouraged to innovate. So it's not only in the company of Tesla, but they also in their supplier chain. Then in addition to that, I have to say that at Toyota, so for example, I just read recently an article that Toyota innovated battery technology that I think they made a breakthrough, if I read it correctly, in solid state battery technology, where the battery has a higher capacity and can be charged in only 10 minutes. Just as an example, right now the battery capacity for a Tesla is, I think the maximum range at the moment is at roughly I think the longest range you can go in a Tesla at the moment is around 400 miles, and you need, for an empty battery, you'll need it 45 minutes to an hour to charge it with a level 3 supercharger by Tesla. So that's the fastest you can go currently. Now, I think that in case of Toyota, they might, I don't know if that article that I read is actually a fact, but even if it's a fact, from my personal experience, until this technology that has been now, this breakthrough technology that say they have the most amazing battery capacity or whatever, before it is actually implemented into a product of Toyota, there will be a lot of time that will pass. And this, again, the speed of innovation is with so many meetings, with so many requirements, with so many regulations, and also like legal aspects that traditional automakers like Toyota, especially Japanese automakers, are considering when they make any change. It will take a long time until they implement that into a product. In addition, what I really was fascinated about is the hiring process in Tesla versus not only Toyota but traditional Japanese companies. Now, I still remember that when I had my job interview at Komatsu, or I also did internships at companies like NTT Docomo, it was also always referring to, okay, what university did you go to, and what are your grades, and what is your major? So they were always looking for educational background. After I was watching a video on the hiring process at Tesla, for example, they don't care at all. They couldn't care less where you went to university, what grades you have. They just want to know, like, basically a question that they ask is, what is one of the biggest problems that you have solved, and give us as many details as possible on how you solved that problem. Because they want to know, do you have experience in solving problems that would be beneficial for the company, for Tesla? Because it's basically business, and manufacturing and anything, creating anything, is about solving problems. You will always encounter problems, and you have to be good at solving problems, be it engineering wise, being business wise, be it, I don't know, maybe even accounting or whatever. But they want to know, how do you solve those problems? And that is also something that I have experienced to be completely different in Japan. So at Toyota, so what I see, there will be a shift when more and more engineers, bright minds, people that really want to solve problems and create something, they will most likely move to those companies that give them the environment for that. And at current stage, I mean, I am like not an expert on the automotive industry by far, but what I see The legacy automakers, they are still having a kind of environment which is limited, and Tesla is, and basically all the Musk companies, be it SpaceX, Boring Company, Neuralink, etc., they all work on the same concept of bringing people together that really love solving problems, and they don't care about their educational background that much. So those were my 2 cents on Tesla versus Japan, and what I think is, oh, that was a pretty strong brake by the autopilot here. But again, I'm driving this car. No, I'm not. I'm driving in this car, or I'm sitting in this car that is being driven by itself, which I think is pretty amazing. So we really live in the future. And I really hope that Japan will catch up in terms of speed of innovation, because I think they might lose the edge in terms of being the top auto manufacturers in the world if they are not able to catch up on specifically innovation speed. All right, let me know what you think in the comments below, and see you in the next video.